Hey everyone, Avery here with Skip's Tactical Solutions, and I'm here with, I guess we can call this our first episode of Tactical Tuesday. So as you guys come on, please let me know where you're joining from. And tonight we have a very special guest. Our guest is Adam, and he is a ProStaff member at Holosun. So tonight we'll be talking all things Holosun, and I want you guys to make sure that you drop your comments down below. Any questions, we will definitely be answering questions tonight. So Adam, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. So can you tell, well, first I want to thank my awesome moderators for moderating tonight. And we are going to give a few people shout outs tonight. So everyone who's in here right now, make sure that you are active in that chat, and we would love for you to hit the thumbs up if you can. If you can't hit it right now, that's okay, because you can do it once the video is over, and share this video with someone. So I see that we have Matt Keaton in here, so thank you so much for joining us. We have Jesus. So I'm going to go ahead and give the disclaimer. Adam, I don't know if you're horrible with names, but I'm absolutely horrible with names. So I go ahead and give that disclaimer because, yeah, it gets pretty crazy sometimes.
I got to give it to Matt Keaton. He's like, I'm at work. Kudos to you, man.
All right, so I want to take a break in that, but I want to give a huge shout out to one of my Patreon supporters, Marv Lee, who's amazing, and he dropped the first super chat for tonight. So we have a $5 super chat from Marv. So Marv, thank you so much for the super chat. All right, some more shout outs. Great to see you as well, Marv. We have John Burton here from Navarre, Florida. Navarre's in the house. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Matt, you're awesome as well. Let's see who else. Jay Dizzle says, hello, Skip. Hello, all. Thank you for tuning in. And my mom is in the house tonight, so thank you so much for tuning in as well. All right, so we gave you guys some shout outs, and now we want to have Adam kind of introduce himself and talk a little bit about Holosun.
Yeah, so I've been a Holosun ProStaff, give or take 5 years now. I've been going to SHOT Show with them about 4 years, and NRA about the same. I actually started when I bought some of their first optics off Primary Arms, and I got the very first couple optics they had. Thought, oh, it's $100. You know, it's going to be something that breaks over a year, but what the heck? And I was still using that almost 3 years later. And I gave them a shout out and said, hey, you know, you guys ever have a competition shooter on staff? They said no, and that kind of was history. And next thing I know, they're like, hey, you want to go to SHOT Show? And I'm like, who doesn't want to go to SHOT Show at least once, right? And 5 SHOT shows later, avoiding the corona like crazy. You know, I'm still doing that. And now I do podcasts for them. We do the interviews with like you every year. It's been great. It's a great company. It's been growing like crazy. And I've been lucky enough to be along for the ride for this whole time.
Nice. So I want to tell you a little bit about my audience. I have a little bit of everyone who follows me, whether it be on social media. Okay, let me take that back. Not follow me, support me, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. And what I know is a lot of them may be very new to guns. And so when I talk about the things, I try to make sure that I explain it at every level to make sure that the person who has no experience and they don't know what an optic is and why someone would actually use an optic. So I have some of those, but then I also have some people who are very experienced and they just want to review so that they can know what they want to buy whenever a new optic or a new firearm comes out. So can you explain for the viewers, like exactly what is an optic and what are some of the different options that you guys offer?
Yeah, so optics in general, we're talking about just optics. They can be anything from a red dot, which is considered usually no magnification for the most part when you talk to most people, or they have magnified optics, which give you some zoom in essence to them. And then you go as high as LPVO, which is the ability to have a variable optic, where you can throw a lever or switch something, and it can go from like 1 magnification all the way up to 10 for some, for the ones I would use. And then other ones for hunting rifles might start at 16 and go all the way up to 25 or 30. For Holosun, we are a red dot company. So we do a lot with maybe some 3 times magnifiers would be the exception. Most of them are red dots, and so you're going to see something similar to this. Oops, wrong one there. And you'll see a little red dot in there if it was on, and that's kind of what you'd aim with. The great thing with them is they're super quick to use. They're very easy to use, and if you're not shooting out to 200 or 300 yards, they're really, really solid for that intermittent distance. With our magnifier thrown on there, you can easily go out to 400 or 500 yards. It's not out of the realm at all. And then we do go down to what a lot of people call pistol optics, which is still a red dot. And that's something more this size, and that'll sit on top of your pistol. And you look through there, and you would have your reticle. A great thing that we did that I'm a huge fan of, the reason why I jumped onto Holosun that I really liked, is our battery life is really great. The price point is phenomenal. And then also with a lot of these things, you have different reticles you can choose from. And I like a circle with a dot in the middle of it, and that's one of the reticles we offer. And battery life on most of our optics is right around 5 years. So, it's almost like made up numbers at this point about how long the batteries live. It's just like just indefinitely. And then the cool thing with us too is we have solar panels that go on top of these. I know it's a little hard to see, but these solar panels that are up here actually allow you to use the sun to not to charge, but to actually run the optic itself, which is awesome. People who are like crap at the fan type people or anything like that kind of fits that specific requirement right there.
Yes, so thank you so much for explaining that. I'm sure there are plenty of people who may not know but don't want to ask. So I do appreciate that. So really quick, I want to give another shout out for a super chat. So thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Big Poke Dog. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you for coming here tonight. All right, so I did see we had John Burton who said right-handed and left eye dominant equals optics.
Yes, 100% agree with that. A lot of people they'll like switch they'll turn their head into real awkward positions to be able to use the optic or to use iron sights. And optics kind of help that. And if you have some visual impairments, things like that, again, helps a lot. And if you're military, law enforcement, Leo, anything like that, it's just a combat multiplier because you're going to go a lot faster than you will with iron sights because you're only lining up one surface versus two planes plus the object. So there's a lot of good options out there. There's a lot of good different things people can try out, and hopefully they try them because, like most of us find out, once you shot an optic and not iron sights, you're like, I never go back to iron sights ever again, unless I have to. Yes.
I completely agree with that. And what I do find though is, although I love an optic, like a great optic can definitely be a game changer, but I really don't like when people, or do you guys, you're an optics company, but I'm pretty sure with you being a competitive shooter, do you hear often of people just completely not having any type of standard sights on their firearm and they're only using optics?
Yeah, we actually, this is a conversation I had probably, honest God, 5 years ago with somebody, is that iron sights were going the way of the dodo bird because optics have been more and more reliable. And we're seeing that more and more in competition. Guys don't even put iron sights on their guns unless they're like an offset and they're just that, I got to shoot something really, really close and my sight's set up for really, really far. So I just use those when I'm really, really close to something. Otherwise, these optics usually have such a high standard of quality that you don't need those iron sights anymore. And I've even seen some police officers that have gone away with them as well because they'll put something, maybe a magnifier behind or something like that impairs the ability to use the iron sights. So they don't even put them on anymore, which, 20 years ago, you'd have gotten, probably shot over that conversation. In today's world, it's like, yeah, that's just typical. That's how technology went. And that's how we're at.
Let's see. Ross Ortiz, thank you so much for tuning in. All right, so I posted about our live tonight and asked for some questions. And we're going to go ahead and start out with this tonight because I know we're going to have a ton of people asking in the chat, but you guys have some new things coming out. Can you talk to us about the new things that you have coming out And then once you do that, obviously we're going to ask about those release dates because that's what everyone wants to know.
Yeah, so I think what you just said is what looks like Joel Duggar just asked too, is
Yes.
the release dates. And Joel, just to paraphrase, optic good, iron sights no bueno. So when you look at the release dates, our K model, which is kind of for the your P365XLs, your Springfield Hellcats, if you look at those types of guns, that K model will be available middle to end of May. It's when we should be getting them, and they should be shipping out pretty close after that. Our 508T version 2, which is actually this guy, I've actually been running one for a couple months now. That one, which is our rounded top, it's got the bigger batteries on the side. That one, again, middle of May, end of May. And then our 509, which I actually don't have one here to show anybody, that one is a fully enclosed pistol optic, much like one of the other ones you've probably seen before. That one is middle of May to end of May as well. So we have that. And then we also have our 3x, our 3 times magnification T version, which will be out, give or take, in June. So those are some of the big ones that are coming out. The biggest one being probably the 508 and the 509. Those are the ones probably everyone's seen at SHOT Show. They've heard me talk about them for a year and a half now. And they're like, gimme, 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 gimme. And they're ready to go. So we hopefully will get those going really soon.
I know I've had a lot of people reaching out about the 507K.
Yep. Yeah, that one is one of those ones that we brought out, and we, you always kind of test the waters with things to see where it's going to go. And that one just took off like a bat out of you-know-where. It was insane that thing was just every single picture you can imagine, every conversation you can imagine was there. And so that's one of them. And I'm really excited to bring that out, like I said, middle of May, end of May, because I think for a lot of people who are buying the Hellcats, they're buying the Springfield 365 XL. When we're talking about those, there's a lot of guys and ladies that really, really want that gun because it's really easy to conceal. It's very high quality from what I've seen so far and heard about from the people using it. And now you have an optic that doesn't hang over the edges. And that's been a big complaint, is that some people have to have a optic mounted to their gun, but they have a proprietary mount, that they have it dremeled or drilled out or machined out, is that the optic will sit over the gun on the smaller frame guns and it digs into your side. If you appendix carry, it doesn't help at all. So we're really excited to bring that out, have a very, very, very slimline optic, and it has a ton of features. So that one I'm super excited for. I think it's going to be a huge seller for us this year.
Yes, I know that since I'm a Holosun dealer, for everyone who is interested in getting their Holosuns, make sure that you check out my website because I have some. The ones that are coming out, I don't have them yet, but I do have some on order. So please, if you're going to purchase, head over to skipstacticalsolutions.com so that you can get them. All right, so we have talked release dates. We have talked about pretty much all the new things that you guys have coming out. Are there any projects that you guys are working on? I mean, I know you're super busy trying to get these optics out, but are there any other projects?
Yeah, I think the big one that was kind of funny at SHOT Show, which you and I talked about, was the it's a slimline model that actually falls, like, it actually allows you to hopefully work with your iron sights. And every gun's different, every mounting system's different, and it runs only off of solar. And that was when we talked about. I just jokingly, when we did some interviews, people said it's called the Atom, and I just jokingly said it. I thought it'd be funny because there's no name for it, and it was super hard. People go, yeah, whatever that thing is, that one. I'm like, just call it the Atom, and let's just be fun. Let's have fun. And next thing you know, they're getting private messages and Facebooks and emails about when's the Atom going to come out. And it's funny because it didn't look like I was super narcissistic because they were saying the ATOM. And I'm like, see, I'm not so narcissistic. I did it for myself. I was talking about the molecule, the Atom. And that one, that has been one that I cannot believe the response we had on that one. That's one we're working on. I don't know the configuration will be available in or how it'll be available, but it's probably been one of the biggest things we've been asked for is that. And then there's some other cool stuff that will hopefully come down the pike that 2020 and 2021 are going to be, I think, really big years for us. I think we're going to have some really cool stuff to bring out. And it did suck with NRA being canceled because we didn't get to do, interview or anything like that. But I think 2021 SHOT Show, we're gonna have a lot of really cool stuff to bring out and to show everybody. And I think it's gonna be just a fantastic year for us.
That's good. I was bummed because I was going to end up missing NRA, and I'm like, oh, I hope no one drops anything that's really good because I won't get to do interviews, but that's okay because no one was able to make it.
Nobody. I was bummed because I'm in Ohio, so it's really close to me. I'm like, I could drive down there and drive back. And then they're like, oh, we're canceling. I'm like, oh.
So, Ohio, how's the weather there right now?
It is like a bipolar crazy thing. We had 3 days of rain. My yard is literally underwater, and then we had 3 days of snow. Then we had 70 degrees, and then today it snowed again. And so I had lung surgery 15 years ago. So my size, it's all like the cramped up stuff, and it is just like going nuts. It's like, cool, it'll be 70 degrees. Oh, it's gonna snow again the next day. Oh, let's make it rain the next day. Like, just pick something. Let's go with it. All right. My yard's destroyed. I need some practice. They've canceled every single shooting competition under the sun because of this COVID. I just want to get back to shooting, get back to some life as normal.
So you mentioned COVID. So I do want to ask, like, has Holosun been impacted? Pretty much the entire United States has been, but how has Holosun been impacted, if they've been impacted at all?
Yeah, so we're still listed as an essential service, just like most firearms companies. So we have not really been hit too hard. The biggest thing is, with competitions not happening, with trade shows not happening, as funny as it sounds, a lot of deals get done at trade shows. A lot of people just think, oh, you kind of go there, you talk to some people, and you go home. It's practically 14 to 16 hours a day of nothing but networking and finding out new dealers. And what I love most, I love SHOT Show, but I love NRA because NRA is like all the end users. SHOT Show is mostly, it is media, which is awesome. I love the media side of it, but it's also like your bigger distributors. NRA Show is like your mom and pop. It's your brother, your sister. They're all come out to say hi. And we get to introduce a lot of people to things, especially like optics. Most people, not most, a good chunk of people that come to our booth have never seen a red dot in their life. And you think, how is that possible in the day of social media? And they just have never used one. They've never used one. They might see one on Instagram. That's about it. And they freaking fall in love with them. So we love doing that, and just get to introduce people to stuff. I never get tired of introducing people to different things in the firearms industry. And it's cool because I also deal with IWI, the Bullpup Company, and Taylor Frieda and some other ones. And it's cool to take them over and show them things. And you get these people who are like, what's a bullpup? And we show it to them. They're like, what the heck is this? Like, where's the barrel start? So it's cool stuff like that I love doing. I think COVID's definitely hurt that. But I think 2021 is going to be that much more of a ballpark year because everybody's just saving everything up now to get there and just release like a ton of stuff. So I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I have to say, last year, so that was 2019, was my first year going to SHOT Show. And when I went to SHOT Show, I was already a dealer for Holosun, and I really appreciated the way that just pretty much everyone at the Holosun booth, extremely welcoming and answered questions. And we did a booth interview together last year, and we did one together this year as well. But I just really appreciate the fact that you guys I feel like you're extremely humble and very welcoming to just smaller guys and girls that are in the industry. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I know you and I talked. We were walking upstairs to the one booth at one time. I tell everybody else, like, it's the firearms community is a pretty small community. And if you shun somebody just because they're smaller, and small is relative, but if you do that, you get a bad name pretty quick because I hate that. I mean, it drives me nuts when somebody just pushes somebody off like, oh, you don't have 400,000 people following you. We're not going to waste our time. It's like, no, I mean, that's, we're there to help everybody. We're there to make each other, to grow each other, to help each other out. And SHOT Show and NRA Show that one time, and we can do a lot of one-on-one stuff, a lot of discussions. And it's fantastic. I think it's a good thing. And I don't know how many times, somebody thinks is small, 3 years later, they're going, wow, I wish I'd talked to them 3 years ago because now they're 500,000 people following them. And at the time they had, 4,000. And, it's not always a numbers game, but a lot of people it is. And I figure, the more people you can talk to, the better off you are. And plus you get relationships like we have now, where, now I know you, and it's cool stuff like that we get to do.
Yeah, I've seen where a lot of people have been like extremely welcoming, and I'm not one to ask for like free products or anything like that. I I like the things that I use, but I do want to get more into like first looks and things like that so that the people who are following me and supporting me so that they can see the things from me and get my opinion on it. And quite honestly, I can't afford to buy all these things. So it's nice to be able to connect with the company and be able to talk to the consumer and then talking to the consumer and then communicating that directly back. So I'm able to reach a lot of people from just instructing, and they're like, well, I was very surprised at how many people want to know, like, no, you tell me what you think. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, this is what I like, but if it's what I like, that's not end all be all. Like there's other options out there, but there's like such value in hearing from like the every single person who's having the firearm or wanting the optic. It's like, hey, have you ever asked them about this or what about this? So I do appreciate the fact that I get to build those relationships with you all. And then it's like, hey, what about this? Or, release dates. Hey, Adam, when is this going to come out? Because I have people that are asking about it and I want to have a better timeline. So those relationships are amazing. And I've only had, I want to say maybe one company so far that was just like, no, we don't need you to review our products because we have other people reviewing our products. And the type of people that they had reviewing their products were, I'll say it. So I felt like they were just like, they were just kind of like
Say how it
modeling with
is.
products,
Yep.
and I, I instruct, like, I want to know, okay, so, and I'm also a mom, so I want to know, well, this is a good product for me to have. And then this is also something that my child can use. Like, say the G44, the Glock 44. Like, I took
Mhm.
my child to the range and he was able to manipulate that firearm well. So then I knew, okay, so when I take other kids to the range, then this would be a good option for them to use. Or, this product is a good product. But I think sometimes people, a lot of the times, they get caught up in the numbers, but then it was funny because probably 7 months later, said company reached out to me and they're like, oh, we love what you're doing, Skip. Like, we would love to send you this product. And I was like, well, no, thanks.
Right.
So it's just one of those things that I'll never forget that company just for the fact of like how it was just the way they delivered the message, like, we don't need you. And I think it's really important for companies to know, like, they need us because, for one, I'm a dealer. So I'm the one that's like hustling the products to the
Mhm.
customer. And then I can also review the product. So as an instructor, a lot of people want to know, like, what my opinion is on certain products.
Yeah, I mean, and that, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's a lot of stuff is you never know what anyone brings to the table. You'll never know unless you know that person inside and out, which none of us do. And it's just funny the people that you meet and you talk to and you find out what they do. It's my day job, you would not know I do stuff with firearms, and people at my work know I do. But I've got two kids and a wife. We've got the typical, we have more in the country, but typical house. My kids have been shooting since they were 3 years old. They've got one's got Thomas the tank train 22 SR 22, and the other one's got a Captain America 22. They got stair code from a company and they've been shooting since they were 3 years old. I have people who are like, "Your kids shoot?" They're like 6 and 9. I said, "Yeah, they've been shooting for like 3 and 6 years." They just been shooting a long time, and but that brings a lot of knowledge to the field too, because all people who come to our booth, they think that, oh, he's a competition shooter. He doesn't know about CCW. He doesn't do that probably. He doesn't know about having kids. And I'm like, we had kids relatively young. I mean, not super young, but relatively young. And my day job is finance and HR. I mean, that's what I do. So I can still carry more than anything else. I got into competition because it made me faster at concealed carry. So as those things elevated, it kind of taught me more and more about things. And I learned just astronomical amounts by talking to people, because I have people who come up and we're talking to them and they're asking questions. I'm like, all right, so I'm talking to a new person. The guy's like, here's you have special forces that deal with this, and we're just trying to see who knows their product and what we're looking at. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, so you know your stuff. He goes, yeah. And I'm like, cool, man. Like, what do you want me to show you? And, we go through that stuff, and we have guys who know their stuff, and they just want know a little more. And we got, guys, gals, that they're just all over the spectrum. And it's like kind of you said, when I talk to somebody, I try to get to know a little bit about them. But it's like if it's a mom and she's like, I can only conceal carry if I have my purse because somehow I can't carry my body because I have a hip injury or whatever. You got to kind of work around that stuff. And everybody has something different. People have different skin conditions, and it's crazy. I mean, it's just you don't know enough about someone until you really get to talk to them a lot. And some people don't take that time. They just kind of go, here's what'll fit you. Just go use it. Doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, no, not so much.
Yeah, that's funny. It would like sometimes even now, if I were to go to a gun store, I never forget the first time that I bought a firearm for my husband. It was like as a gift and just kind of shopping around, and I'm going to call it buffoonery that they were saying to me because they thought I knew nothing about guns. So I'm like, okay, sure. Okay. And then I leave that place because they're trying to take advantage of me because they think I don't know any better. But I think what the industry may lack a bit is that compassion for that new shooter, or just they don't even have to be new to firearms, but people who just don't know. Like the amount of people that I see online that will ask a question and just get hammered. And it's like they don't know, and they're asking the question. So you have to be more compassionate because that would turn someone off completely to the industry.
Yeah, I always tell people my semi story here is that my first gun, I grew up on a farm. I shot since I was probably 5-6 years old, but it was always 22s and your wood stock 30-06s, stuff like that, 308s. I went to get my first AR. I didn't know anything. I went to a gun show, probably my first mistake. Went to gun show to buy a gun. Guy's like, here's what you need. It's perfect for you. I paid probably $400 more than I should have for it. He gave me a $25 red dot that he goes, this is what you need. It'll last forever. It's good for you. I think I got 2 shots and the top of it fell off the base. But we've all started somewhere. We didn't know everything. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're the best shooter in the world or the worst shooter or the best instructor or the worst. At some point, you decided, I'm going to get into firearms, and you knew nothing. And maybe you went and did some due diligence. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you just jumped in. My wife and I always joke with this story. We went to a decent-sized dealer, and it was going to be for her concealed carry gun. We walk in, and the guy goes, I don't walk in and go, firearms instructor, I work for Holliston. We go up to his counter, and he's like, yo, can I help you with? And I'm like, hey, she's looking. And he goes, I got the perfect gun for you. Looked at it for 2 seconds, pulls out this pink revolver, and it was like a 38.
I knew you were going to say revolver, too.
I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I'm saying nothing. I'm just looking at him like, man, this is just going fantastic. And my wife's like, I was thinking more like a Glock, a Glock 19. He goes, ma'am. He goes, it's too much gun for you. And I just kind of laughed, and she goes, well, I shoot my husband's. And he goes, it's just too much gun for a lady like yourself. And he tries to push this Ruger little pink tiny gun. And I think he even told her, he goes, it comes in aqua too. And I'm just like, dude, you've dug yourself so deep. You couldn't get out of here with an excavator. I told my wife, I'm like, that's the sad part, is that's what someone's going to go into. This lady's going to go out there, or this new guy, or whoever. They're going to say they want to get their concealed carry gun. They're going to sell them a 5-round revolver that sucks to reload. They're not going to get accurate with it potentially. They might not want to carry it that much. And the reality is, like we talk about a lot, is if to really conceal carry a gun, most people want to like how it looks. They want to like how it feels. And it's got to be really well fit in their hand. So does it fit all those criteria? There's a couple other criteria too, but does it fit those criteria? And if it's not, then most people don't carry it. They won't do it. And so, that's like the Cerakote. People knock on that, but I'm like, I don't know how many people I know that have Cerakoted a gun because they saw it on Call of Duty or whatever, and now they shoot guns because of Call of Duty. And I'm like, dude, it's one more firearms owner in the U.S. And if he wants to paint his gun, insert whatever, what do I care? It's his gun. Good for him or good for her. My wife's got I know we can't show it today, but she's got a Glock 43 that is like mermaid scales, and it's like pink and aqua. She freaking loves it. It's the girliest looking gun on earth, but she loves it. And I'm like, more power to you. If you want to shoot more because of that, go for it. I mean, my kids want to shoot more because they got Thomas the Tank and Captain America. So I'm all for it.
That's good. And I appreciate that, because whatever is going to motivate them, like, go for it. Like, if you want your gun to be mermaid, that's cool. I know that I have a rose gold Glock 43 and I love it. And I even went like that extra mile, because those who know me know that I'm a little extra at times. But it is engraved with Wonder Woman logos all over it. So that's just something that I like, and I wanted something that kind of fitted me. And if that's what you want, then do whatever you want. And if anyone's judging you, then they're wrong.
I
So
agree.
First, we're going to check out the chat really quick. Grinder, thank you for coming in tonight. Mike McCoy, thank you so much for tuning in. And Karen, I want to give Karen a quick shout out. Karen she's typically in the live chats, but last week was in the live chat and we were talking some of the products on the website, and Karen made a purchase. So thank you so much, Karen. And I hope that you're enjoying your purchase, and check for the little gift that I put in there for you.
Now, Skip, who's your mom? Which one is this? Is your mom? She chatting in here or what?
She is chatting in here.
Where's Mom?
And I have to give. I'm very, very proud of her, because she's not typing in all caps tonight. So everyone normally knows it's her because she's typing in all caps. But my mom is Maggie Massey in the chat tonight. So shout out to my mom and dad in the chat tonight.
Awesome.
My dad just has to listen by default. And then Joel, thank you for instructor Smiley G. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I think Joel, you were here earlier. So, and Matt, thank you so much. All right, so I have a couple of questions that I want to ask in regards to the reticle. So when it comes to Holosun, what do you guys offer?
All right, so we have, just go over some generic stuff. So we have, what we're kind of known for is that our optics have multiple reticles in them. Most of them do, not all, most of them. And so there's a 2 MOA dot, and then there's a 65 MOA ring that's on top, or that's around the dot. And you can actually change it to have just the dot or just the ring on a lot of them, or the dot and the ring. And so somebody who might be used to just a dot system says, I just want the dot. I don't want all the other fancy stuff. We give them that option to bounce back and forth. Me, I'm a ring and a dot guy. I love it. That's kind of what I run with. We also have stuff that is a little bit higher MOA. And we also have what we call our carry optic system, which is actually a 6 MOA ring with the inside being hollow, which is really awesome. A lot of people have really come to like it. And that's kind of a new offering for us. It's called a CO. So it's the Holosun CO optic, and CO meaning carry optic. And then we have some other optics that are hopefully coming out, and we have different colors too. So we have red, we have green, and we have gold. And so those are kind of new for us. The green and the red have been out a while. The gold is actually, if you're colorblind, you can't see red and green, but you can see gold. So for the ones that are colorblind, which actually, it's surprising how many people you find are colorblind at NRA show or SHOT Show. They're coming going, I can see this. And I'm like, I hope you can. And he's like, no, I'm colorblind. I'm like, you're colorblind. I must have heard that freaking 10 times a day. And I'm like, how many of y'all are colorblind? Look at these things going, they're off. Can't even see nothing in here. So it's funny, seeing that stuff. And it's also awesome to kind of help people with those reticles and to give them that choice of reticle. Some people are used to just, it's a reticle. You get one and that's all you get. Ours also, when you change reticles, don't lose 0. So if you ever bought the special at the gun show, aka what this guy bought, it says 14 different colors, 16 different reticles, choose whatever you want. So you switch around to a reticle you have, and all of a sudden you're shooting 14 feet to the left or 13 feet to the right. What the heck? And then you find out there's these little diodes in the back, and it just circles around them. Well, it throws your aim off every single time you circle around it. You hit the center every single one of them, which doesn't work. So what we do is the reticle doesn't change. It's the same emitter. So the reticle does change, but the emitter stays in the same location, so you don't lose zero. We're actually working on some different ones potentially that have different color options as well in the same optic. Those are kind of still in the T&E phase. We are even looking at that because that was something that some people had asked us, can I have this color and that and this and that? And we're also looking at some BDC reticles, bullet drop compensators, where it would tell you, like, if you're 0 to the 100 and you want to shoot at 300, you go down to this third notch and you shoot at 300 from there. So we have that versatility. And then our pistol dots, which I'm excited about because it's really great to be able to do other people, is our pistol dots have the ability to have the 3 reticles as well in that small, tiny little package of an optic. And so people can choose what they want, and a lot of people like different things. And that's the great thing about America and everything is you can choose different things. The old theory about, you can have a Ford as long as you want it in black. And it's like, well, yeah, but what if I want it in blue? You can't have it then. So it's great that, we have these different options, we're kind of different things, and they offer different abilities. And I think Joel had asked earlier on the same subject, just to kind of show like what the kind of pistol red dots look like. This one comes with a mount, and my lights are obviously too far away because I'm not getting that great lighting. But this actually, as a 45 mount, so go behind or in front of your main option. And what this does is that this kind of replaces your iron sights. I think Joel had asked, do you as competition shooter offset them? I do. So I use this as my main, instead of iron sights, I have an optic sitting off to the side, and I prefer it that way. I'm gonna try to pull these lights in a little bit. So you kind of have it like this. And what it would normally look like is more something like this. This is without the mounting system put on top of it, or I'm sorry, below it, so it's not on top of the mount. So there's a lot of great options out there, from the larger optics that would be on your rifle to the smaller ones that would be on your pistol. They vary in size and they vary in different abilities of what's included on those. And it's great to see people try different things and really just enjoy the different optics they can get in their hands on. And it never ceases to amaze me what different people like. That's the one thing that I've learned doing stuff with Holosun and IWI and other companies is people love very different things, and it's great to be able to offer those different things to different people. Karen, I love them too.
All right, so I want to give a shout out for Marv. He just donated a $3 super sticker. I want to say I think this is my first super sticker. I think so. But Marv, thank you so much. Marv gave me my very first super chat on YouTube, and he's given me my very first super sticker. So thank you so much, Marv. I appreciate it. And Marv is also a Patreon supporter. So here in a bit, I will be giving all of my Patreon supporters a shout out. And if you guys don't know what Patreon is a way for them to support me monetarily. They donate money for me to be able to cover fees and even things such as getting to SHOT Show or buying a new camera, range fees, or it could also be the FFL transfer fees when I pick up a firearm for review. So there's so much that goes into content creation, especially for a YouTuber. I don't know if I would have done it if I would have known this much went into YouTube, but I appreciate my Patreon supporters because they are donating their hard-earned money to support me. So they will be getting a shout out later. So again, thank you so much, Marv. All right, so we were talking reticles, but before we're going to get to the questions here in a minute, but when it comes to the reticles, what seems to be the most popular color?
I think red's still the most popular color. I think we're seeing a lot of people really enjoy the green. I enjoy the green because I have a little bit of astigmatism. I actually have a lot of astigmatism. And the green, I see a little better. I don't see as much of a washout type of an issue with different things. And I also think in really bright days, the green shows really well. And then from a competition shooter or even from a hunter, because I have these things on my hunting rifles as well. It's not too hard to see red in the woods with red leaves and fall and things like that. Green you still see, but around Ohio when it's hunting season, it's either fall or winter. I don't really run into green at those times of year. It's usually some reds and some browns. Green doesn't wash out as much against those. When it comes to concealed carry and things like that, the one thing we joked about is how many people wear a lime green shirt versus how many people wear a red shirt. we see a lot of red shirts at SHOT Show, NRA Show, and we made a game of it the one year, you know, how many you saw of what. You don't see too many green shirts, though. It's, you know, you see a couple, but it's not as prominent. Red, there's a lot of red stuff. So you don't have that washout as well when you're doing that. And then if you're doing target shooting, a lot of people buy those targets that you get at Walmart or wherever you get them from, and in the center might be a red dot. Well, if it's a red dot and your little red dot's trying to go on the red dot, you don't see it until it goes into the white. So I think that plays into a factor as well. Our gold is also a really good option if you're colorblind. I prefer the green of all of them, but the red still, I think it's just that holdover of everyone's used to red. Like that's been the status quo for years.
I definitely know the individuals in the military who they're familiar with optics. They are used to the red, like they've never seen anything else. And so I'm sure when they go out to purchase something, that's going to be their first option is, oh, I'm going to get red because I'm familiar with this.
Right.
All right. So you talked about what is more popular amongst the consumers. What's your favorite color?
Yeah, my favorite color 100% is green. I kind of go against the grain sometimes with some people. Other times, once I give them a green reticle, they're like, holy crap, that's what I want. And so I enjoy seeing that because I take out numerous guns on different occasions, and I'll help with different booths and things like that. And we'll just set all my crap out and say, whatever you want to shoot, go ahead and shoot. And a lot of them are like, wow, this green dot stuff is really where it's at. And so I enjoy people getting to try that stuff. And I'm a big proponent of if you can try it before you buy it, I'm happier because even if you don't buy our optic, which I hope you do, I'd rather you get what makes the most sense for you. I don't want to sell you something just to sell you something, because what's going to happen is you're going to regret me sometime in the future and go, that son of a gun Adam told me this was the end all be all, and I don't like it because ABC. And plus, maybe you don't carry your gun as much because you bought that, or maybe you don't shoot your gun as much. I'd rather have you part of the 2A community out there shooting and having fun. And I know Holosun would as well as a company standpoint. And so that's more my goal is if we can get you the right optic, that's the best thing for you. That's what I want to do. But definitely for me, I'd throw the green 512, this big honker guy. I thought on almost everything but a pistol.
I have to say, I prefer the green, but I'm really excited to try the gold. I haven't tried the gold, and I'm really excited for that, but the green has to be my favorite now.
Awesome.
All right, so if you want to answer this question, what brand of shotgun would you buy if you were to select one?
Yeah, so I think there's if you're looking at a home defense shotgun, I'd probably still stay with the pump just due to the availability of them and the reliability. Because what I see a lot of is if it's home defense specifically, people tend to leave them somewhere and that's where they stay, and they'll get dirt and dust and crap in them, and the pumps just run. There's some really good semi-autos out there now too that are relatively inexpensive. I'm just not familiar with the inexpensive ones as much. I shot some other ones people have had. And if you're looking at competition, I think the M2 from Benelli is, I think it's the M2 is really hard to dissociate. A lot of people run those and they run really, really well. So I definitely look at that. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of options out there, and the budget's always the biggest thing. I mean, these things can range from $200 to $3,000. And you know, I've got 2 kids. My wife was a stay-at-home mom until recently. I ain't got $3,000 money.
I'm right there with you. I work and my husband works, and we don't have $3,000 for that.
Right? I mean, I'm trying to figure out where these people get their money from, because it's not what I'm doing.
All right, so we have another question for you. This one is from Jesus. What is the plus and minus of using a red dot in low light? And this is a great question, so thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, so at least from my standpoint, when we do low light, no light classes, so one of the ones I actually enjoyed the most was, I think it was last year, maybe October, November. We had IWI actually put on a shoot house here in Alliance, Ohio, and it was no light, low light. So pretty much there was no light because it was dark, and we're going through a shoot house doing things. When you look at through your irons on a pistol at night, even with your light on, it can be hard to see. Even with the tritium inserts, it can be hard to see. Add in smoke or people crying or whatever. I'm looking from a home defense standpoint. With a reticle in your optic, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you just pull it up, you find it, and you start plunking away. Follow-up shots are also easier, which is I'm a big proponent of, because when you look at gunfights and you really break down gunfights, rarely do you shoot one shot and the situation's over. You'll shoot multiple shots, so 2, 3, 4 times in a single person. Even with hits, they don't always go down. So we look at that. I want to stack the deck in my favor. I want to cheat as much as I can, make sure all the cards are in my favor, and I've got a winning hand. So if I do that, I want to have as many lumens as I can, and I want to have a red dot so that I can put rounds very quickly on a target very, very fast. So I think from a low light perspective, it helps a lot. And even from a daylight perspective, it helps a lot. Because again, you're not lining up different things. When you think about iron sights, especially if you try to shoot a far distance, you have to line up your rear sight, your front sight, and then your bad guy, or your competition target. With this, it's just 1 and 1, and you can track it a lot faster too. So I think both of those come into play, and depending on what the aspect is you're looking at doing, I think it makes a lot of sense to put a red dot on pretty much everything.
So I have to agree with you on that. And I do find that sometimes the older crowd, they like to use the red dots because of their vision. So when you start to get up there, then you may want to look into a red dot if you haven't already, because that can really help you.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things that the best thing someone can do is try. So if you can get access to a pistol with a red dot, or you have one, go out to the range, use a timer on your phone, insert whatever you have, and set the line of targets and make them like not just one target, but multiple targets, and try to transition getting hits. I came from a self-defense standpoint. I taught CCW classes, took a lot of classes myself. That's kind of how I grew up in it, and I took competition after that. I was almost always faster with a red dot on almost everything. The only exception is like really, really close stuff, because you're not even lining up sights anyways. You're just kind of pushing it out there and putting rounds on something. But I think you're hard pressed to find almost anybody who can shoot irons faster than they can shoot a red dot. It just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. All right, so I have another question for you. When it comes to Holosun's warranty, can you school us on their warranty?
Yeah, so our elite line, we kind of did a line in the sand, and it was kind of to ensure that price points stayed where they were. But our elite line is a lifetime warranty for the owner, and then the original line had a little bit of a varied warranty. I can tell you our warranty return rates are very low, and that as long as you're not purposely destroying the optic, we do warranty a lot of things. If it's something our fault is what it is. And then for the most part, most stuff you're going to buy moving forward is mostly our elite line, which is a lifetime warranty.
All right. We have a question. Actually, before we get to this question, I do want to ask you, when it comes to the warranty, what are some of the most common things that you see people returning them for?
So the funniest one, that I don't have one I can show you. The funniest thing we get, or questions that I get, because I field some of them when they come to, a lot of people know who I am, or like not know who I am, but they know I shoot for Holliston, or I work with Holliston.
They're like, you're a big deal, Adam.
Right. That's the least of their thoughts. They're like, hey, this schmuck over here has got a shirt that says Holliston. I'm going to see what he says. They'll send an optic, and the front glass of our circular optics is canted. And it's canted because that's how everything works. It's got to be canted. And they'll email me, and they'll text me or whatever and say, hey, my optics broke. My glass is crazy canted to the left or whatever. I'm like, it's not canted. That's not your problem. It's actually supposed to be that way. I don't think it is. I'm telling you, if you make it straight, it ain't going to work. You're not going to see anything through that thing. So that's usually the questions we get. And there's even a little flyer brochure thing in the boxes now that says, your glass should look like this. Because that was the big question. Otherwise, our return rates are very low. I don't know what our leading cause would be, but it's very low, and I'm happy to say that, because from my standpoint, I want to make sure if someone does see me out shooting and they go, hey, what is that? I don't want them to regret it a month later, because $300 is $300, or $200 or $150. I remember my wife and I couldn't afford a $50 like eating out for more than once a month. That was the most we could do in a month. So I know what it is to say, if I'm going to spend $300, this is the only optic I'm going to have for probably 3 years, 5 years. Yeah. And so I want to make sure people get the quality they can. And I always tell them, If you find an issue, go find me on Facebook. It's literally just my name, Adam Lickey, or it's Adam Lickey - competitive shooter. My Instagram is the only weird one because Adam_SA. Find me on there, instant message me. My cell phone's on all that stuff. Text me, and I'll make sure we try to make it right as long as it's not something that you did. And I've had people who are like, "Oh, I ran over my truck." I'm like, "Dude, that is your problem." I even got to talk to our crew about warranting what you ran over with the truck.
That's funny. What about individuals who drop their optic, like it falls and something happened? So how often do you guys see that, and what's kind of the warranty on that?
Yeah, so the one thing that we did that was kind of funny the one year that I thought I was getting yelled at for, but the owner said go ahead and do it. We called it the dinner bell, and we literally just smashed two optics together once in a while, and it was just this loud, annoying clanging sound. But people would flock to you like you were throwing bread at a bunch of like seagulls. They just come flocking to you. What's he doing? What's he doing? It was like a taser sounded gun show. People came flocking, and we just smashed them together, and nothing happened. Most of my competition optics, I'm like, I want to pick stuff up. I know we're gonna yell if I do. My competition optics, they get abused. They get the crap beaten out of them. They're on demo guns. These demo guns, people at demos drop guns all the time. They hit them against the poles. They try to take a picture with them. They get abused the crap out of. And I've got a basement floor that's pure concrete. I don't know how many times they come falling out of the safe as I open the safe. And I'm like, oh, there goes a 512 or there goes a 510. But it holds up really well. And and that's been something I've been very proud of for us as a company, is because if I look at it, the average user is not going to Afghanistan, and they're not going to have sand in it, and they're not going to, be in a 6-foot water scuba diving, to take out some bad dude. They're going to be taking it in and out of their safe and going to the range and then coming home. They might be shooting competition, which a lot of people do with our optics. But what is your most common thing? And it's being off of a wall. It's dropping out of your safe. It's knocking out of your cars, getting out to the range. Our optics hold up really well to all those things. And I'm really proud of that because, again, if you look at the mass quantity who are buying that stuff, that's what they're going to do. They're not going to go underwater for 25 meters for 10 minutes. They're going to be just getting in and out and doing stuff. So I think ours hold up really well to that.
All right, so let's answer a couple of questions. We're going to answer Urine Dragons. So a person with vision issues, a red dot would be recommended, or one with the multiple options?
Yeah, so depending what the vision issues are, because there are obviously different vision issues. For most vision issues, I would definitely recommend a red dot, as long as you're shooting like 200 yards and in, unless you have a magnifier. So if you're looking at that, I would definitely recommend one. My preference are ones kind of like this, not the tube style, but these a little bit bigger ones. And the reason for that is you get more real estate to look through. And so the more I can see out of my optic, the faster I can transition to things because I can see more. I can see more of a target. I can see more of my surroundings, things like that. On a pistol, almost hands down, any vision issue you have, a red dot's going to help. I'm sure there's very few that might hurt it, but for the most, it's going to help it. With options, I think it's better. What I like about the Holosun ones is that you have multiple options with colors and reticles. And I've had people who say red, when they look at red through a red dot, it washes out. No matter what optic it is, it turns into a big sun. Green, they might have the issue, or gold, they don't have the issue. So I think that helps you. And then the different reticles makes a difference because you might say, I love just the dot. Okay, cool. Then you see what the circle and dot looks like, and you go, I wish I'd had that. Well, these ones have all that. And for me, with concealed carry, my competition handguns don't have red dots on them because it's a different classification for shooting. My concealed carry gun does, and so I've got to practice it more because I'm not always shooting competition. But I don't like to try to find the red dot, whereas I've got the giant circle with the dot in the middle of it. For that, it's a 2 MOA dot and a 32 MOA ring. It's hard to miss it. You're going to catch some glimmer of it and punch out really easy and go to town on stuff. So I find it important that you have those options on there.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. I'm pretty sure that when most people get to use a dot or a circle dot like for the first time, like I have to say, like I would imagine that they would fall in love. Like it's so much easier.
Yeah, my dad was one of them. He had a 45-70 hunting gun and has iron sights. And he was like, what in tarnations is this stuff? And I slapped one of our optics on there. He's like, oh, this is a waste of money. He shoots it and he goes, this is really nice. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, it is. I didn't just slap it on there to give it away to you. I wanted you to try it. And I think that kind of stuff helps. And that's why I'm a big proponent of, if you're near Ohio or near a thing I'm at, I always tell people, come up and ask me. I will let you shoot anything I own. I mean, it's something that we do. It's not hard to find 15, 20 guns wherever we go with different things. And I'll throw on whatever optics you want to try. Because again, my goal is maybe the Holosun's not right for you. Maybe you need something else. Then cool, let's go find it. Because I want you to be happy. That's my end goal, is if you're happy, I'm happy. And I feel better about myself. Because I have to go sleep at night too. If I sell you a bunch of crap you don't want, I'm not going to sleep that well at night because I know I just shystered somebody.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. So we have Shane here. He said, sent my 365 out to get cut for the 507K, first red dot ever, then picked up a 365 XL today while its little brother is away, and I'll get another one for it. Thank you, Holosun.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. You're going to love the 507K. It is a phenomenal red dot.
All right, so next question is from Jerry Miller, and he said, which Holosun do you think will work on my Canic Elite Subcompact?
Yeah, so I want to say that one is cut for the RMR style red dot. I think there's a plate system too, though. I'm not 100% familiar with all the Canics. I think there's a plate system. So the Holosuns fit to the RMR footprint. So if you have the RMR plate or your gun is cut for the RMR, it'll fit with that. The exceptions are the 507K because those are a smaller footprint optic. They're a modified RMSC. For those who know those, it's just terminology. And then our Atom version, which I'm just going to go with that name until they finally name it after me. I mean, sorry, the molecule. That one is completely separate, and it's a kind of proprietary thing right now until we figure everything out.
All right, so when it comes to the fit of, let's say, the 407K and the 507K, so can you explain which firearms they fit on? Because I know there's a lot of questions in regards to that.
Yeah, so anything that'll accept the kind of the RMSC footprint, ours is a modified version of that. But for the most part, if I remember correctly, it's the things that are kind of shaped in the size-wise of the Springfield Hellcat, the P365 XL, or it's that RMSC footprint. Ours is a little bit modified. The great thing, though, is if you modify your gun or gunsmith does it for you to accept our optic, it'll still work with the RMSC. So it's backwards compatible. So you're not going to lose anything by making it compatible with our optic.
Nice. Thank you for that. And Shane asks, what advice do you have for someone learning to shoot their first red dot on a pistol?
Yeah, so Shane, I would definitely say if it's your first time with a red dot pistol, the best thing you can do for yourself is mount that thing to your pistol and do a bunch of dry fires at home. So when you're sitting in front of the TV, make sure, I'm going to do a disclaimer. I'm going to be a legal guy. Take that magazine out, rack it out, make sure there's no ammo in it. Make sure you're being safe, so nobody says I didn't say that. And just do a bunch of dry fire. And the main important thing is keep your head up straight, push the gun out, and then let that sight line up with your eyes. And it's hard to do because a lot of us, when I was taught to shoot, it was bury your head down and then push it out, and you lined up with your iron sights. The better way to shoot where possible, it's faster, is to bring the gun up into your line of sight. So when you're at home, practice. I joke usually that it takes me like 500 some draws to make sure I'm finding it every single time. And that's because your eyes are lining up in different places and your hands are in different places. So it's definitely doable. It's just going to take a lot of hard practice at home.
Thank you for that. Sorry. So another question that I have is, what range do you zero your pistol and your rifle optic?
Yeah, so my pistol, I'm going to start with that. The pistol specifically, I'm about 15 yards. And that's because I figure realistically, that should be the farthest distance I can make a pistol shot at. You look at your houses and things, you're not shooting very far in your house. And for me to take a shot, and I'll bounce back and forth here. With competition, you don't shoot a lot past that. You might shoot 50 yards occasionally, but I know where that zero's at, that hold. And then in a self-defense situation, I can't imagine I'm going to comfortably take a 50-yard shot in self-defense unless there's a brick wall behind the person and there's like 6 layers to it. There's no way in heck I could possibly hit anybody else. There's nowhere around for miles, and I got nowhere else to go. So I think 15 yards is about the most I would take. And I know with these optics, the circle that kind of goes around the dot is pretty much from 0 to that 15. I mean, you're good as long as you're in that area. So I'm comfortable with that. With my rifle, I sight those in for 50 yards, and that's because it's really hard to get a good 0 at 100 yards with the red dot because you really can't see everything. You know, you're just kind of lining up to the best you can and hoping nothing with you fluctuates as the gun does its job. So I do 50, and it's also because in competition, 50 and 200 are a lot of the ranges you shoot at, and those are the same 0 for the most part. So I do a lot of that. With PCC or pistol caliber carbine, mostly 15 yards, get maybe 20 yards for that 0. And that's because you're usually shooting at those distances. You're not shooting very far with those for the most part. But again, I always tell people, go to your situation. You know, if your gun's never going to leave your house and that's just your home defense gun, figure out what your longest distance is or your most common distance and sight in for that. Because that's probably the best thing you can do for you. And some people's houses, if you're Richie Rich and you've got these crazy long hallways, cool, sight in for a little bit longer. My stuff is like, here's a corner, here's a corner, here's a corner. There's not too long of a distance shot being shot there. And I know my comfortability out in public is probably about 15 yards. I'd comfortably make a shot on a person if I had to.
All right. And Michelle Raddick. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. She said, I'm learning so much. Whoa. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're learning something tonight. Look, check. All right, so now I'm going to give my Patreon supporters their shout outs. So thank you so much to Aaron Harrison, Adam Jimenez, Chris Fulmer, Demont, Deanna Hunt, Donovan, Gun Websites, Ken Blanchard, Marv Lee, Michael Stan, Natalie Zett, Sonia, Turbo, 1889, Varden Gilroy, and Wallace Tucker. Thank you guys so much for supporting me on Patreon. It means so much to me. And I'm sure Varden is so tired of me messing up his name. I say it on the podcast. I'm gonna have to start paying him. I mess his name up all the time. So I really appreciate the support from each and every one of them. And let's see, there was another question. So is there anything else that you would like to share with us in regards to Holosun?
Yeah, you know, I hope you'll give it a try. If you're looking for a pistol optic, we have 2 different kind of lines. I don't want to say lines, but 2 different kind of options. There's our version 1 and our version 2. And what you usually see is we don't call it version 1, but our version 2 we do call V2. And that V2 option had bigger buttons on the side of it. It had a couple other finesses, and it has a side-mounted battery. The Gen 1s, the battery had to be taken out from the bottom, which wasn't a big deal because they last 10 years on our pistol optics. So, you know, you're probably trading the gun in before you're actually switching the battery. That's just the reality. But our new Gen 2s, or V2s, do have a side-mounted battery. And my personal preference is that side-mounted battery, just because I do use my guns a lot. And so I do change my batteries out every 1 to 2 years, depending on what gun they are. Not because I have to, because I don't want to be in a competition and go, and there it goes. Because I'm forgetful, and if I don't do it when I'm supposed to, I'll just never do it. I'll be like, I'll do it tomorrow, and then day never actually comes. And then the one thing I think we kind of talked about that I don't know if I clarified is our different lines, our numbering system. So if a number is like a 400 and something, so 407, that means all it has is a dot. So 403, 407, things like that. It's just a 2 MOA dot, nothing else. If it's a 503, a 510, a 512, 509, 507, all these different numbers, those have 2 to 3 reticles. And so the 2 reticle system means you have a dot and a circle dot, and that's it. The 3 options is the dot, the circle, and the circle with the dot. So it does make a difference. And when you go online, you'll see it'll tell you which reticles you're going to get. but that's the big difference between a 407 and a 500 level series, or sorry, 400 and 500. And if you just want a dot, you do save some money going to just the 400 series. If you think you want the circle dot, you pay a small amount more, but you get those options. Everything I have, even when I buy it, because I do buy these on my own sometimes, I get the 500 level series for everything, because I like having the multiple reticles. And when I take people out to shoot, some are like, oh, I just want the dot. All right, and you hold the button down, here you go, here's your dot. So I do that. And then the other cool thing, which a lot of people don't always know about, is this one, which is our 512, which is a great rifle optic. One of the complaints that we used to get was just that a lot of these optics for any company, when you take the battery out, you have to use some Allen keys or some special torque wrenches. With this one, it was a special design that kind of lets you just flip a little switch here, and this whole tray pops out. So it's we call it a batteryless battery system. So that was really cool thing with that 512 that I think makes it worth it if nothing else, because I hate changing batteries. When I do, I want to do something super simple, and it takes me 2 seconds. I do it, I go back to what I'm doing. The other thing is our solar panels. We have a lot of questions about those. They will run the optic even without a battery in them. And if you've been to SHOT Show and NRA Show, I do that. I'll take out. We usually have 2 different booths at different places. I'll take batteries out and just, I'll be like, here, you hold the battery. Now look at the optic, and they can still see it. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I get a lot of guys who are like, crap at the fan or SHTF, and they're like, what about this? If I'm out in the woods, about that? Those solar panels will run that optic. Even in very, very low light, you will get an optic or a reticle, sorry. And for me, the green looks brighter because you can see, your eyes see green easier than they see red. So it appears brighter to your eye. So with green, even in very, very low light, even without a battery, I get plenty of reticle to shoot. And I really enjoy that feature. Other than that, I think those are the really great things about Holosun. And my main hope is that somebody who's watching the show decides to try an optic, or they go out and they shoot, or if you guys are near Ohio, hit me up. I'll take you out. We'll go shooting somewhere, and I'll introduce you to whoever I can. My goal is always introduce people, and I've been very fortunate to work with some really cool companies. They give me the ability to take people out and do that kind of stuff.
Nice. So I was just about to ask you to talk about some of the great features, which you just talked about the solar backup, but can you also talk really quick about the Shake Awake?
Yeah, so the Shake Awake was probably one of the coolest features. I know people say, oh, it's been out there for a little while. It's really cool because what happens is when you put your gun away, it in essence goes to sleep. So after 10, 15 minutes of it not noticing any motion at all, it'll turn itself off. And then when you pick it up, even with the lightest touches, it'll shake itself back on. And it's called Shake Awake, but it'll turn itself back on by being shaken or moved around. And we do this at SHOT Show a lot, where somebody will come around and they want to do video of it, and we'll put these rifles on their own rack where nobody can touch them, and they'll go over there a couple minutes later and they'll hit them and they'll flip back on. And you can deactivate that feature if you wanted to. Some people are like, I don't want it to ever happen. You can deactivate it. But for me, I've tested these things enough that I trust my life on it, because my home defense gun is one of these, it has one of these optics on it. And for me, it makes a big difference to trust that. People say that, they don't always really trust things. For me, it's great. The Shake Awake makes a big difference and gives you that battery life. For me, battery life is key. I don't want to change batteries every 3 or 4 months, every 6 months. I'm not that guy. I want to run. I want to run for a minimum a year, if not 3 to 5 years. And so I enjoy the ability to do that. And I think a lot of people do as well, because especially self-defense guns, a lot of time they get sat down somewhere and they get left there. People don't go back to their self-defense guns. They're like, hey, let me check it tonight. Let me put it down. Let me check it tonight. Let me put it down. It'll sit there next to their safe. It'll sit there in their safe. It'll sit next to the bed in their little bedstand gun safe. And that's just kind of what it does. And so I think it means a lot to me that we can offer a product that people feel comfortable with and they want to trust their lives with.
Yeah, I really enjoy your products, and I have to say the Shake Awake is one of those features that I do love, because I would be the one to not turn it off, and then it's like, yeah, every single time. I do that with my ear protection, and it's like, oh, I forgot to turn it off. So with the Shake Awake, I don't have to worry about that, because once I store it in the safe, then there's no movement and it's good to go. But you get out to the range, start to handle the rifle, you look down and you look through the optic and you're like, all right, good to go. So I do like that feature. And I've I've had my optic on my rifle for, it's definitely been a year now. And I mean, my zero has kept like, you know, like you're throwing your stuff in the vehicle, you know, it's in a bag, but still, or if you have someone else who's shooting it. But I just appreciate the fact that it's a quality product. And I recommend for people to try it, like Adam said, like actually get out there and find someone that has one. And you just ask them, like, hey, can I check this out? But don't just go. And I've noticed a lot of people will go with what has been around the longest. And that's not necessarily like what's the best product or what's going to give you the most bang for your buck, because you're not like spending an arm and a leg, but you're getting a quality product here. So I really appreciate the fact that Holosun, they're killing the game right now. Like,
Yeah.
you guys are always working on improving the products. And I noticed that. And I think we talked about that in the video that we did at SHOT Show. And if you guys have not seen that video, I'll be sure to link it. But if you haven't, all you have to do is go back probably like 10 videos. You'll see a video of me and Adam at SHOT Show. It was literally like the last 30 minutes of SHOT Show. It was great. And there was, I guess we had like a special guest that appeared in the video really quick. And then
The hey, don't open this door until the video's done. And then, oh crap.
that was funny. So when we were editing the video, I was asked like, hey, do you want me to take that out? And I was like, no, like, let's just leave it in there. It was funny. I'm surprised because normally I'll be like, we just got to start over. But we were just like, okay, and this is what we were talking about. So that was funny. I want to give a shout out to Shelly here. She said, great product. Looking forward to checking it out. Thank you so much. Shelly is amazing. She works with Blue Force Gear. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. All right, so we are going to go ahead and start wrapping it up for the night. I really appreciate you for joining us, Adam. It was a true pleasure. And I know that when it comes to Holosun, like, you guys are working on putting a lot of things out there. And there's a lot of dates, like big dates that are coming up for you guys. Like, you have all these new products that are dropping, and you have people that I'm sure are reaching out on a daily basis, and they're asking for the updates on these products.
I'm sure people are tired of my response of it's the Rona's fault. You know, it's as I call Corona is the Rona. It's like it's the Rona's fault. You know, you told us in April. I'm like, listen, it's the Rona's fault. It's not mine. But yeah, we're super excited. I've been running a 508T, which some people have been asking about. I've been running that now for since before SHOT Show. Absolutely love it. I can't wait to bring it to market because I'm a lot of people are really going to like it. It's going to mean a lot to them, and I'm really excited to do that. I think A, I'm grateful to be on here, and B, I'm grateful to work for Holliston and these other great companies where we can go and help people and teach them about firearms and things like that. And it wasn't that long ago. It got canceled this year, but I did Girl in the Gun. I taught there last year, and you know, it's amazing just to get to meet different people. It's, you know, you teach different things, you meet different people, and it's awesome to see different backgrounds because it's just the firearms community will never cease to amaze you the backgrounds people have.
Yeah.
It's just you know, you're once you think you saw it all, somebody goes, I'm this. I'm like, what? Like, I thought you'd hate guns. No, I love guns. I'm like, okay, like, cool. You know, we're glad to have you. What do you want? So I always love to see it. I'm excited to see what the next year and 2 and 3 years has for us.
All right, so there was that one last question that I wanted to ask you. So I'm sorry that I forgot it earlier, but can you talk really quick about your IR lasers?
Yeah, so we have we actually started as a laser company, and I'm going to kind of go through it fast, but we actually started as a laser company. And so we moved into optics, which has done phenomenally well for us. And then we still have our laser line, though, and we have a lot of hog hunters that use it. They love it. And we have anything from just a single laser, which I don't have sitting next to me, ironically, of all the things I have next to me. I don't have a laser, but we have single lasers to IR and visible lasers to IR illuminators, which means it kind of shows out and illuminates if you have night vision on. to IR lasers that you see in the movies where, the guy's got the green or white night vision on, and you can see the laser just kind of bopping around. We have all those different things, and we found hog hunters absolutely love them. They're very durable. They last very well, and they take some abuse. And most hog hunters I've seen and I know are like, they're bouncing out of stuff, they're dropping their guns, and so they've done really well. And I think it's something to definitely check out, especially if you have night vision. You're gonna love it. It's just night and day difference when you have some night vision on. And also, I guess I should mention, all of our optics, for those that don't know, have 2 night vision settings in them. So there's the very first and second brightness settings are actually night vision compatible. So you can actually run all of our stuff with night vision, including our lasers.
Thanks for that. Like, I'm just going to make a post out of that.
Yeah, most people don't know that, and I've been fortunate. Some of the IWI guys have night vision. I do not. They look at me as the poor, and I am that. So I am fortunate to run theirs, and when I can run theirs, I'll run our optics and our lasers, and it's awesome to use. And most optics, you're not going to see at $200 and $300 having night vision compatible settings, and ours do. Something we've had since the very first optics is we've always had those 2 settings as being night vision compatible.
That's great to know. I definitely don't have a set of night vision either, but if I just happen to run across a pair one day, I know that they would work with my Holosun. So you schooled us tonight on so much when it came to Holosun, and I really appreciate you coming on tonight. There was so many nuggets that were dropped, and I know that a lot of people in here learned something, but we know for sure that Michelle learned something because she told us that she did. And, there's so many different companies out there, and we're not saying that you have to absolutely use Holosun, but what we wanted to do, our main goal was to educate you on Holosun, and there's always like a face behind these brands, right? So Adam is just one of the members that works at Holosun. So if you have been on the fence about purchasing a Holosun, I hope this has helped you, because I know they're a company that I use, I love, and I only put my name behind those things that I absolutely use myself and I appreciate. So I have I'm not going to say one last super chat, but another super chat from Marv. Marv gave a $5 super chat, and he said, thanks for the live. Marv, thank you so much for another super chat. Marv is so phenomenal, and he's always sporting his Skips Tactical Solutions t-shirts, and he said that his coworkers love them. So thank you so much, Marv. But we just had our first Tactical Tuesday episode. So our first guest, Adam with Holosun, and not only does he work with their company, but he's also a competitive shooter. So this is someone who not only knows like the technical part of it, he also runs and guns, as they say. So it was a pleasure to have you on tonight. And everyone that tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not shared this video, please share this video. If you have not purchased the Holosun before and now you're thinking about it, we would appreciate it if you drop that down in the comments below to let us know that you haven't purchased one or you have purchased one and you loved it. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight, everyone. Every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have a Tactical Tuesday episode. And for those of you who listen to the podcast will be coming back very soon, and we will also have Holosun as a guest on the podcast. So if you have any questions that you did not get to ask tonight, and you can just drop those down in the comments below, or you can email those questions to me at skipstacticalsolutions.com. Adam, is there any last words that you would like to share, or would you like to share where they can follow you if they want to follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. If somebody feels so inclined, they can go over to Facebook, and it's just Adam Litke. As you see the name on the screen, --competitive shooter. You can go ahead and send me a friend request on my main family page, and just tell me, mention you heard of me here, and I'll definitely accept it. And then Instagram is Adam_SA, and it's actually Shield and Sword Academy is what that stands for. Where I used to teach CCW and stuff like that. So follow me on there. We're able to offer some really cool stuff through those different things, different tips, tricks, things like that. I hope you check out Skip's, Avery's and Skip Tactical's website. You buy some stuff from her because she's always good to me. She always comes by, always says hi, and she's honest, and that's the hardest thing. I mean, I love people that are honest. If something sucks, tell me it sucks. I'll bring it back and I'll try to make sure it gets fixed. Don't sugarcoat stuff for me. And I'm also super honored to be on here your first Tactical Tuesday. I'm super excited.
Thank you. All right, guys, make sure that you not only follow Adam, but follow Holosun as well to see all the new things that they're coming out with. If you want to purchase your Holosun products, you can head over to skipstacticalsolutions.com and you just hit the search bar and just type in Holosun and the products will pop up for you. If you have not already purchased one and there's something that is on there's something that you want to purchase, but it's not on the website, just feel free to reach out because we can order it and it just may not be in stock right now. So the 507s are coming in soon and we have ours on order. So you can definitely reach out about those. They're not on my website. I'm not doing like some of the other companies and putting like, oh, it's here. And then when you go to add it to your cart, then it's like estimated shipping 1 month. So if you guys want to order anything Holosun, please reach out. And we have another super chat. Thank you so much to Sonia H. She actually gave a super sticker. My bad. It wasn't a super chat. Super sticker for $10. So I appreciate her. She is also a Patreon supporter. And I had the honor of meeting her last year. She came to my very first meet and greet. So it was a pleasure to meet you. She has been supporting for a very long time. All right, guys, so we are wrapping up our first Tactical Tuesday. As always, if you're not following us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or listening to the podcast, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, do that. Share this video. And when you share the video, tag me at Skip's Tactical Solutions on whatever platform it is, and I will repost it. And as always, have a happy and a safe week, and we will see you next week here, same time. Thanks for tuning in, guys.